Good morning, everyone. Today, I will present my analysis on Indonesia's carbon pricing strategy and how market-based instruments such as carbon taxes and carbon markets can support Indonesia industrial transformation. This topic is highly relevant as Indonesia is balancing economic growth ambition with global climate commitment. Indonesia is currently facing a dual challenge. On one side, the government targets 8% economic growth, while on the other hand, it must achieve a net zero emission by 2060. This means carbon policy is no longer just an environmental issue. It has become a core economic strategy that influences industrial competitiveness, investment flow, and energy security. The key question is, how can Indonesia grow rapidly while also transitioning to a low carbon economy? Carbon pricing is strategic because it directly affects the structure of the Indonesia economy. First, Indonesia is still heavily dependent on fossil fuels, especially coal. This means any carbon policy will influence production costs and growth. Second, there is an inflation risk. Higher energy prices can increase logistic and consumer prices and potentially reducing purchasing power. Third, from an employment perspective, the transition will create both winners and losers. Coal-related jobs may decline, while renewable sectors will grow. Overall, carbon pricing acts as a bridge between decarbonization and economic transformation, but it must be carefully designed. There are two main instruments in carbon pricing. First is the carbon tax, which is directly set a price on emission. In Indonesia, the minimum rate is 30,000 rupiahs per ton CO2 equal. Second is the carbon market or ETS, where emission permits are traded. Indonesia uses IDX carbon with instruments like PTBAE PU or quota system and SPE GRK for the verified reduction emission. The key differences is the carbon tax provides price certainty and ETS provides emission quantity certainty. Indonesia now is using a hybrid approach by combining both systems. Carbon pricing is based on the concept of negative externalities, and currently, fossil fuels prices do not reflect their true social costs, such as a climate damage and a health impact. And now, a carbon tax works as a Pigouvian tax, meaning it forces producers to internalize these hidden costs. As a result, businesses are encouraged to 1. Reduce emission, 2. Improve efficiency, and 3. Shift to the cleaner technologies. This will help correct market failure and leads to a more efficient economy. Carbon pricing is important and a mandate for Indonesia's future energy market. Indonesia's economy is highly sensitive to energy. As shown in this slide, mining and manufacturing contribute over 30% of the GDP, while transport and logistics are also energy intensive. And electricity relies heavily on a coal power, around 86% of the capacity. This means any increase in energy prices will have a broad microeconomics impact, including inflation and industrial costs. This is one of the biggest challenges. On one side, Indonesia introduced a carbon tax to increase the cost of emissions. But on the other side, the government spent 381 trillion on energy subsidies. This will create a contradiction. While the carbon pricing tries to make fossil fuel expensive, but the subsidies makes them artificially cheap. As the result, the carbon price signal becomes weak and ineffective. According to the OECD data, Indonesia's carbon pricing impact is still limited. Only about 25.4% on emissions are effectively priced, while fossil fuel subsidies are dominant. This means businesses do not yet feel strong pressure to change the behavior. Without a meaningful carbon price, the market will not shift toward cleaner technologies. Now, why this industry is central to the carbon policy? Industry is central because it drives the GDP, inflation, and investment. Mining and manufacturing contribute more than 30% of the GDP. Energy costs also influence inflation and household purchasing power. At the same time, the global investors are increasingly looking for a green and ESG compliance project. This means carbon pricing can help attract high-quality foreign investment. And why this policy means for the Indonesian economy? The carbon pricing has several important economic implications. First, it will improve efficiency by correcting the distorted energy prices. Second, it can become a new source of the government revenue, helping reduce reliance on the subsidies. Third, it will support industrial upgrading, encouraging the firms to adopt a cleaner and more efficient technologies. Fourth, it will protect export competitiveness, especially as a global markets adopt a carbon standard. However, this policy only works if the part of the broader strategy and not as a standalone tools. If we want to implement the carbon pricing in Indonesia, there are several major challenges. First, a large energy subsidies weaken the effectiveness of the carbon pricing. The second, there is an inflation risk. With a higher energy prices, it can affect the consumer's good. And the third, the global commodity prices are volatile due to the geopolitics. Fourth, Indonesia carbon price is still low to drive the change. And finally, the global financial conditions such as interest rate can affect investment and stability. These challenges show that the carbon pricing must be carefully coordinated with the other policies. Indonesia has a lot of legal basis to do the carbon pricing structure. It's more than a 15 legal basis that we have. Indonesia already has a strong regulatory framework. This includes the Law Number 7 2021 for the carbon tax, the Presidential Regulation, and also the OJK regulation for the carbon trading. This shows that this institutional foundation is in a place. However, the challenge is not the regulation, but for the implementation and policy consistency. Now, we want to take comparison with other countries in the international global standard. There are important lessons from the other country. First, we can see the Sweden. Sweden shows the consistency and a high pricing are the key to the success, while the Singapore shows the simple and predictable policies can be very effective. And the European Union shows that a strong institution and market integrity are critical for the ETS success. We believe that Indonesia can learn from all these three approaches to make the carbon pricing is effective, and historically it will move the economics to the better place. To achieve all of this, there are several key recommendations. First, to establish a clear carbon price trajectory so the business can plan investment. The second, to ensure revenue recycling, using the funds for a social protection and green investment. The third, implement a just transition, especially for a coal-dependent workers. Fourth, promote the green hilirisasi, integrating carbon policy with the industrial strategy. And the fifth, reform subsidies gradually to strengthen the price signal. Finally, we can improve the carbon market credibility and the transparency. In a conclusion, carbon pricing is not just an environmental tool. It is a strategic economic instrument that can drive structural transformation. If designed correctly, Indonesia can align economic growth with the decarbonization and turn climate challenges into a competitive advantage. Thank you.